Yam Shaivas samupasate Shivaiti Brahmeti Vedantino Bauddha Buddha iti Pramana Padavaha Kartedi Nayyayika Arhan Nityatha Jaina Shasanarata Karmeti Mimamsaka Soyam Vo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanaatho Harihi Soyam Vo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanaatho Harihi Madhya Hridaya Kashe Sadanandamayo Guruhu Udetu Satatam Samyak Ajnanatimiraruna Harihi Om Harihi. As usual, we shall recite 3 times the auspicious monosyllable Omkara in the form of a sublime austerity. It is done with a view to infuse into yourself a substantial measure of purity, elegance and sublimation, more for the purpose of generating a sublimating influence throughout the entire globe. So imagine the importance and the necessity to participate in it wholeheartedly. Interlock your fingers, as I always say, close your eyes, sit comfortably erect, open the heart as well as the mouth and join me. Harihi, Harihi, Harihi. I shall recite somewhat the opening verse, the submission of Arjuna. You can repeat as I go on reciting line by line. Karpanya dosho bhagata swabhavaha Karpanya dosho bhagata swabhavaha Prachami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yachreyasyaad nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam Tvam prapannam. In equipping oneself to meet the challenges of modern life, I have explained rather elaborately, to some extent I can say, in the past 2 days, that every experience in human life is actually inner and internal. The experience producer is the mind or the mind plane. The entire body consists of matter and energy. Both of them have no emotional or intelligent status. They are absolutely inert. No matter of any kind, no energy of any kind is ever known to be intelligent, sensitive, is capable of feeling, sensing, remembering, or doubting, etc. So the entire knowledge function, emotional function, rational function, everything takes place, though seemingly within the body, not in any part of the body is the fact. This is something that you have to know basically. Our life is constantly interactional. The individual who interacts with remains the same, and the things interacted with alone are variable. They can be classified into three. You interact with persons, maybe at home, in the professional front, in the society at large. That is interaction. Then you interact with different environments, places and circumstances. Then thirdly, you interact with different types of events and outcome. These are the three basic interactions that we have. And interpersonal interactions are, by their very nature, more complex and more challenging. In all these interactions, you, the individual, remain the same. And in the individual human personality, there has not been any change over the millennia. The world at large also has not changed. The world remains the same, the Panchabhutas as we call it. So there is no change at all. Maybe in some of the styles, manners, the types of building you have, the facilities you have for travel, how you write. In my young days, I don't know whether you can remember, we used to write on slate with a stone pencil. And we used to plug some indigenous product in order to wipe it clean. This is the way I learned in my young days. Now all those types of learning have gone. We have different methods now. Dot pen and this pen and that pen, many things are there. But the writing was done by the fingers. And the alphabets were our own evolution. Over the years, many alphabets have not changed at all. They remain the same. Now I am using Sanskrit for my lecture and discussion. These Sanskrit letters were evolved millennia ago, and they remain the same. When I read the Upanishadic sentence or the Upanishadic poem, it makes the same meaning as it made meaning countless millennia ago. So when you speak about challenges, we have to think about them in a fundamental and a more basic manner. So every challenge is ultimately a response from the mind, a reaction from the mind, an impetus from the mind, an urge, a motivation, a compulsion or a persuasion from the mind. Now for the mind to make the best of motivations and compulsions, to meet any kind of a challenge, either in the domestic front, or in the professional front, or in the societal front, global front, the power and potential should be generated and provided by the mind alone. Do you agree or not? So our success lies in, effectiveness lies in making the mind healthy. The mind has got a state of constriction. That constricted mind will not help you. You cannot have a rigid mind. You must have a flexible mind. You should not have any constriction at all. So in being able to meet any challenge of human life, you always have to focus your attention on building up the potential and the possibilities of the mind. Focus on the mind. Make sure that the constrictions in the mind are removed. The mind becomes broader, it becomes deeper, it becomes loftier, it becomes flexible, and more important than anything else, it becomes assimilative. When I say our mind has got any capacity, endless capacity to assimilate anything whatsoever that comes into the mind. After all, what will come into the mind? All the objects of the world remain outside. See, when you have a child born to you, when the umbilical cord is cut, the child is separated from the mother. And throughout his life, he is going to remain as a separate individual, functioning in his own manner, breathing, eating, drinking, sleeping, acting. All actions of the child are separate from you. Now, if you have any kind of a challenge from him, that challenge is what his behavior, what his action, interaction, etc., they bring about. And your mind is sensing all these in the way of a response. So, child may be external, but the challenges are felt by your mind. And to meet the challenges, the mind must have inspiration, it must have impulsion, it must have the know-how also. Every time you must be able to generate the necessary inspiration, impetus, drive, enthusiasm, fervor, untiring perseverance. All these are qualities of the mind. So let us be very clear that the mind has to be free of constrictions, and the mind has to be filled with a number of positive influences and inspirations. Many of them I refer to in the form of words. The limited mind will have to become unlimited. The constricted mind will have to become free. The rigid mind will have to become flexible. It has to become more and more permeating, pervasive. When I ask you a question, would you like to work with a small constricted mind, or would you like to work with a big, extensive and flexible mind? The entire spirituality is to make the mind more and more flexible. And the most important quality is the mind must be able to assimilate all kinds of impacts coming from the world and interaction. My interactions may have a seeming external relevance, but the impacts produced by interactions are all internal, inner and inner. You have a huge task to perform. Who tells you the task is huge, and who tells you that you have to perform it? Is it the outside that tells you? Is your mind that murmurs? So our mind has to be equipped. How to equip the mind? Treat the constrictions, make the mind free of them, and fill the mind, imbue the mind with a number of inspirations, compulsions, persuasions and perseverance. And it is possible. The entire human life is meant for building up our mind, enhancing the potential of the mind, confidence, clarity of thought, timely resolve, the readiness to go forward in any given situation. The situation may be anything, but you have to generate the inspiration. Sita was abducted by Ravana. Nobody knew how the abduction took place, what had happened. And Rama and Lakshmana alone decided to trek throughout the forest in the mission of finding Sita. You tell me whether they succeeded or not. Vibhishana led a team southward in search of the so-called Sita abducted. They reached the end point of the earth surrounded by the seas. Normally the monkeys, the vanaras, are used to traveling in the forest. They generally jump from one branch of a tree to another, maximum from one tree to another. If at all there are some water collections, they will be of a limited range in the forest. Now here they were seeing something entirely different. Endless waters on all the three sides, the Kanyakumari area. Extensive water. They have not seen anything like that at all. And ultimately the question arose, we have not succeeded. We have searched all places, but the result is we have not found Sita. So let us not go back to report failure. Are you hearing me? They decided, let us not go back to report failure. What will they say? We search the caves, we search the mountains, we search here, we search there. Well, result is what? We have not found. To report it, why should we go? Sugriva will be disappointed. Rama will be disappointed. Lakshmana will be disappointed. Maybe all of them will become irretrievably disappointed. So let us not go back. And let us remain here, they decided. See the steadfastness of their search, the searching team. They started chanting whatever has happened, say the Ramayana story, as Valmiki puts it. Suddenly they spotted Sampadi at a distance. He gave them the news that Ravana has taken Sita in this direction. Suddenly, providentially, they got the message. Now the message has been had. How to reach the distant island? There was no method at all. So the entire assembly was confronted. Now they have to find Sita. Then Vibhishana and not Vibhishana. Angada, the leader of the team, he started saying, now come, all of you, sit before me. We are going to have a discussion. We know where Sita has been taken. Now we have to physically reach there. Now tell me how to cross the sea. How much you will be able to jump? Everybody kept quiet. They said, no, we have nothing to do. We are all used to traveling in the forest areas. Any mount we can climb, any tree we can climb. We can jump from one tree to the other, that's all. But here is endless waters. What can we do? So they kept quiet. Angada did not leave. See how he builds up enthusiasm in the followers. You should read Ramayana to find out how dexterously and effectively, confidently Angada spoke to. I generally recite this instance in order to build up the quality and the style of leadership, the art and process of building up leadership. Then he said, I will not accept your silence. There are many heroes in this assembly. Many of you have done heroic and valorous acts. Here is a heroic act to be performed. Now you tell me very clearly how much distance you can jump. Then one of them got up to say, I will jump 10 yojanas. From silence, it became 10 yojanas. When one person said, as if the present bidding, except in 2G scam. So, what happened? Another monkey got up, Vanara got up and said, I will jump 20 yojanas. From 10, it went up to 20. A third man came up and said, I can jump 50 yojanas. Like that, it went on. Jambavan, the oldest person, said, I am old. I don't have the old valor, the earlier valor. Somehow I will jump and reach that island, but I will not have any strength to come back. From zero position, they have reached now a situation where they can reach there. But how to come back and report was the problem. Finally, Jambavan said, there was Hanuman sitting there, silently, absolutely keeping quiet, not reacting at all. He looked at Hanuman and said, here is one person called Hanuman. I will inspire him with his heredity. I will tell him what he is, where from he is born. And then I will enable him, empower him to jump. Hanuman started sharpening his ears and listening. Hanuman, you are the son of Vayu. What? Now let me ask you, are you not all sons and daughters of Vayu? If you say, I am the son and daughter of my parents, you have a very poor understanding of life. Without the parents, you can still live. In fact, a child is liberated from the mother's womb in order to live independently. The child doesn't need the mother at all. Any other person can bring the child up. But we cannot live without air. So we are Vayuputras, Vayuputris, we are Jalaputras, we are Bhumiputras, we are Agniputras, we are Akashaputras. Do you agree with me or not? Think of a greater heredity. Here, jumping, crossing the Vayu, floating through the Vayu was called for. Then he was told, you are Vayuputra. Wherever there is Vayu, it is just like climbing on the lap of your father. You are capable of jumping. You can, he said. Hanuman started swelling in his imagination. See, the body did not swell. The mind started swelling in leaps and bounds. And Hanuman decided, I shall jump. Then he got up, yes, I shall, I am Vayuputra. Wherever my father is there, it is easy for me to go. No problem, no disturbance, nobody will obstruct. And he started feeling so much of imaginational power, psychological power, that he said, no, I cannot jump from here. Every action has got a reaction. So if I start jumping, the earth will become slushy. The earth will not be able to stand. Let us get into the Mahendrajala. And he got into the Mahendrajala. Greater and greater expanse was visible before him. He felt so inspired mentally, enlarged, expanded, almost spatial he became. And he started walking left and right. Valmiki writes, the mountain started swinging. Finally he stood at the center. rolled his tail, and then, bop, sprang up. Just imagine what is the power of the human mind. You are using it only for small domestic purposes, and that too quarreling 12 times a day. We don't have greater ambition, greater aspiration, greater confidence, greater evaluation. Our mind is unlimited. Mind's potential is infinite. You are using only some of the conventional measures, conventional norms. But we have got unconventional potentials, quite a number of them. And then Hanuman went over there. How prudently he behaved. He searched all places, nowhere he was able to find. Ultimately he found Sita sitting underneath in the Ashokavana. After having spotted her, the problem was to go there. And he was a Vanara. Sita would not have seen any Vanara at all. Suppose I go there alone, how will she trust me? I don't know. So he decided the best way will be, I will sit on the top. And I will go on chanting Rama, 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 Rama. When Sita hears the name of Rama, she cannot doubt. Her curiosity will be aroused. Her fondness and reliance will increase. So he started chanting and gently dropped his tail, so that she would not be frightened as to who is chanting and who will come down. In this way he performed. Whenever you are to succeed in your mission in life, people are told, you read Sundara kaanda from Ramayana. The word Sundara means beautiful, but it has got a meaning, Vanara. The whole Sundara kaanda is the exploits and excellences of Hanuman in the mission of discovering Sita. How he succeeded, what all he performed. Just imagine. After having met Sita, he set fire to and Ravana's people discovered and finally caught hold of him and brought. They brought him almost as a prisoner. Hanuman was not satisfied. I have come here as an ambassador of Rama. I should be treated accordingly. These people are not giving the treatment. So he decided to treat himself. So he started rolling his tail. And jumped over and sat. So much so, Ravana from his tall throne, high throne, had to look at like this and speak to Hanuman. Are you able to find anything in this narration? This is how you have to think and behave. If somebody is not respecting you, you must have the ability and the power to generate respectfulness, remaining in your own humble manner. He did not launch an attack. He did not accuse Ravana. He only behaved in such a clever and dexterous manner that Ravana knew this is not an ordinary person. This is what is described. That Sundara kaanda, this is supposed to give you victory in any mission that you take up. As long as Sundara kaanda is there before us, we need not fear at all about our achievements, glory and success. Unfortunately, you believe only in industrial training, academic education. Management gimmicks, that's all what you believe in. Everything in our narration, spiritual, philosophical narration, is to bring about psycho-intellectual excellences. What did I say? Psycho-intellectual excellences. This is the purpose of the whole narration. How will you develop your mind? When you read, the letters and the ideas get imprinted in your mind. So the mind goes on expanding, ideationally, emotionally, intellectually, knowledge-wise, aspiration-wise, it goes on enhancing itself. So the measure and the magnitude of the mind, the potential of the mind, go on increasing endlessly. Don't think that this Ramayana has been written for nothing. It's a constant message to the human mind, to the human intelligence. Using the tool of intelligence, they are trying to build immense potential, untold potential in the mind and the creative power of the human personality. So, the one point that we have to do is get rid of the constrictions of the mind and imbue the mind with a lot of powerful and potent and profound influences and aspirations. Now this becomes the subject now. Krishna has made it very clear, raga, dvesha and bhaya, all of them are constricting. If you think that desire is good, here is a Swami who tells you repeatedly that to desire is to constrict the mind. Any action should not be motivated by a desire. Necessity is the mother of invention. There is an English proverb. Has it mentioned desire is the mother of invention? If there is a necessity, here was a necessity to cross the sea and go to the island. Naturally, an invention was made by Hanuman in the form of a psychological, emotional and inspirational infusion into into Hanuman. This is what happened there. So we can invent anything whatsoever, provided we are conscious of the necessity. Let us work on needs, necessities, compulsions. When there is something to be found out, we will find out. In Kerala, we are short of people to climb the coconut trees. Virtually our coconut trees are not attended. Nobody is there to climb. Now one day there was a deputy commissioner started demonstrating himself that he is going to climb a tree to generate inspiration. Now we have invented a machine to climb the tree. In some places, vanaras are used for climbing and plucking coconuts. So with a necessity, many things can be achieved. We have found out tillers for tilling the land. For harvesting also now machines have been invented. So necessity is the mother of invention. Here also it is necessity. Have no desire at all. As I mentioned yesterday, to desire is weakness. To desire means to get constricted. To be resentful or hateful or intolerant is another constriction of the mind. To fear is another constriction. When a person fears, when he gets frightened, his blood circulation will not be uniform. His mouth will go dry, as it happened in the case of Arjuna. Mukham cha parishushyati, he said. My mouth has become dry. My whole body is trembling. Gandiva is slipping. My mind is whirling. Only because of fear. So let us have a temperament. Let us have a psychological excellence by virtue of which we will be free of raga, dvesha and bhaya. How to become free of them? How to become free of them? Our mind is the source of all emotions. Good thoughts arise from the mind. Bad thoughts arise equally from the same mind. Raga, dvesha, bhayas are constantly generated by the mind. I can say mind is a rope made out of 3 strands. One is raga, desire, greed, passion, etc. Another is resentment, hate or hatred, intolerance. The third is fear, apprehension, doubt, lack of confidence. These are the 3 strands with which the human mind is made. You have to understand. And then, by a gradual effort or even a sudden effort, you have to handle these 3 and make the mind functional in spite of their presence. You must develop flexibility, smoothness, confidence, etc. Let part of your day be spent on cultivating qualities in yourself, infusing and imbibing qualities into yourself. Whatever quality you want, you meditate or contemplate upon them, remember them. Read some biographical notes where that particular quality is featured by a hero. As I told you about Sundara kaanda, the valor, the confidence, the supremacy of the human mind. How confident a person can become to attempt even the impossible. How the little person that Hanuman was, how did he take up with a lot of confidence? How did he have the will and the wish to jump from Mahendra mountain? How was he able to do it? In the same manner, we can imbue any extent of inspiration and creativity into our mind. Do you accept it or not? Has any one of you tried to cultivate your mind? We only know body treatment, keeping it in health. Suddenly go to a doctor, get many things infused into the system. That is okay. But the body is only an instrument. It is the mind that has to employ the body. The intelligence has to give the necessary direction. Knowledge must be our constant persuasion. Knowledgeable, be knowledgeable. That is important. So mind is the source of good as well as bad things. Whenever you want to cultivate something good, treat the mind and take it to such a level, the source level, from which instead of bad, it can start swelling with good qualities. That is how meditation and absorption become very, very important. The mind has got tremendous power, tremendous power. By contemplating upon whatever values or qualities you want to cultivate, spend your mind, contemplate upon the values and qualities. You will find the mind picks up and imbibes them. But we must spend time. See, every day you sit in the dining hall, in front of the dining table, spending 20 minutes or 25 minutes, you have your food. It contains many items, but nutrition also. So that nutritive food, you take at least 20-25 minutes at one time. Maybe altogether 1.5 hours you must be spending every day for giving nourishment to the body. That is why the body remains nourished. Do you parallelly spend 45 minutes for nourishing your mind? Huh? Boliye na. Are you really wise? You want only your body nourished? You don't want to nourish the mind, nourish the intelligence. And what are you doing for that? Nothing, zero. Is it right? So this is the impartiality, this is the imbalance and disharmony in all of us. Our culture tells you every day to chant Gayatri 108 times with some more ceremonial paraphernalia. When I used to perform my Sandhya Vandana in the pre-sannyasa life, after I was given the sacred thread, I want to tell you, maybe I have told you already, no day the sun had risen and set without this person having done his Sandhya Vandana. What did I say? The sun had not risen and set without my performing the Pratah Sandhya and the Sayam Sandhya. And in the morning, it would take invariably something like 30 to 40 minutes. In the evening, it will take a little lesser time. But every day I used to perform it. Every day I used to perform it. My mother told me, you may be sick, lying in the bed. Ask somebody to bring some water and sprinkle it on your face and feet. Still you perform your Sandhya there. And I literally heeded what she said. You think eating, sleeping, working, a little playing, club going, and then what is that? A little getting intoxicated. This is our routine. Are you not ashamed to do this? Is this the heredity that you are going to pass to your children? Do we need liquor to motivate us, to excite us? Or do we have enough stimulation in the form of beautiful literature? Be lovers of knowledge, lovers of knowledge. Lovers of knowledge, not lovers of liquor. Any human, the highest wealth in him is knowledge. The highest strength for him is knowledge. Everywhere it is knowledge. Knowledge is the greatest power in man, potential in man. That is the greatest ability in man. Cultivate it, cultivate it. It requires a measure of austere, disciplined performance and pursuit. Now, coming back to this point, you can treat the mind to such an extent that you can transcend all the thoughts and you can reach the level of the thinker and the thinking and the source of both. This is what is called the Sthita the stable-minded personality. Arjuna was inquiring. Yesterday I spoke a little about it. Krishna clearly indicated that the mind should be free of all doubts and oscillations. And you must be able to remain poised and stable in your own personality. The mind should not be tempted by a desire. It should not be shaken by a hatred. And it should not be subdued by a fear. It must go beyond all these things. And there is a possibility for that. So he called it yoga. Yoga. Shruti vipratipannate yadastasya nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi. When your mind is able to overcome all kinds of doubt and oscillation, you can be very clear, very much poised. Suddenly Arjuna got the clue. So he makes an inquiry. Please let me know about that wonderful person you are portraying before me, the man of stable mind, that stable-minded person. I have discussed this particular section, most probably in the Essential Concepts of Bhagavad Gita series, possibly in the number 1. Is it in the first book? You will find a very good description of this model person, the model spiritual person. Arjuna's question was this: Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhih kim prabhasheda kim asida vrajeda kim. This enquiry is very interesting to go into it. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha. When a man, by treating his mind, getting into his mind, entering into a mood of contemplation, his contemplation becomes so refined, so absorptional in character, that he transcends the thoughtfulness, the entire thought process, the emotional process, the doubt process, everything he transcends, and he reaches the very source. Is it possible? If you ask me, my answer is, are you not doing it every day in sleep? The entire wakeful impressions are completely wiped off, and you are remaining absorbed into yourself. See, people speak about meditation. They don't know what is meditation, what should be aimed at in meditation. There are some people who will meditate looking into the tip of the nose. Others. Actually, this is all not meditation. Meditation is an exclusive inner mental effort. You should get into the mind plane and tackle the mind plane. What are there? Ideas, thoughts, emotions, figures. Mind has got only 2 functions: ideation and figuration. It forms ideas in the form of letters and words. It forms different kinds of shapes and figures. Figuration or ideation. These 2 processes have to be treated in such a manner that you transcend them and reach the very source. If your mind can produce thought and you can follow the thought, you can also follow the thought process and get into the source of it. If I come here next year, you should be very particular. I will discuss this subject of meditation and what is ultimately taking place in meditation. So Arjuna sensed it and he raised a question. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha. The word bhasha does not mean language, it is description. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha. What is the description of a sthita prajna? A description about the sthita prajna. The prajna word means consciousness. What is consciousness? It is indefinable. Consciousness is that by virtue of which one becomes conscious of objects and also the subject. You close your eyes in pitch darkness. Make sure that your hands do not touch your body. Just remain there. You cannot see your body. You cannot otherwise sense the body. Nevertheless, you will know that you have a body, is it not? Now, what senses the body? That is consciousness. Similarly, what senses the thoughts? That is consciousness. What senses the doubt? What causes dream? What causes your wakefulness? And how are you led to sleep and then again wake up? All these are done by consciousness. It is not a substance. It is not matter. It is not energy. You can only understand it as a principle. It is not an entity as such, but it's a presence you can call. But that presence cannot be accessed by any of our sensory organs. That consciousness is called prajna. It becomes sthita, means stable. It doesn't flicker. It doesn't swing. It doesn't form any ripple. It does not undergo any process. It remains in its own sovereign majesty. Its own sovereign majesty. That is called the sthita prajna. The man who is able to have his consciousness in a steady manner, where the mind and the intelligence both do not flicker, swing or fluctuate. They remain absolutely firm and stable. Now, how will you describe such a man? Such a person will not talk himself. Others will have to explain what he is. So, Krishna, you give me a description about the sthita prajna, the man who has attained yoga in your own language, in Krishna's own description. Tada yogamavapsyasi. At that stage you will have attained yoga, he said. So I want to know, who is that person? The description of a person who has attained this stable mindedness. Samadhistasya Keshava. He describes samadhistasya. The word samadhi means a state where you are transcending the thought processes, transcending the ripples of the mind. So the mind remains firm, stable, still, poised and full. Give me a description of such a person. Sthitadhi kim prabhasheda. In the first line he uses the word sthita prajna. In the next line he uses the word sthitadhi. Unless you have a personal experience of this sthita prajnata, the intelligence is not going to become stable and poised. You should very clearly know what you are. I have a body, but I am not the body. I think, I understand, I doubt, I am wakeful, I sleep, I dream. All these exercises or activities are done by some factor within my body which is different from matter and energy. I must know what it is. Know what it is. You cannot escape that knowledge. Because every time you are living and moving in that, you are living and moving in and through that. At every point of time you are conscious of. After waking up from sleep you say, I slept. So the I did not disappear in sleep at all. So every time we are conscious of. Suppose you had an unconscious spell. You wake up and then say, I had a blackout. Nobody else says that, you yourself say. So the consciousness never becomes extinct in us. It is always agile and active. It produces basically 3 states for us. The wakeful state, the sleep state and the dream state. If you analyze all the 3 of them, you get the entire mystery of creation and preservation and dissolution. Understand these 3 states properly. We have an Upanishad called Mandukya Upanishad, in which the subject of discussion is the Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. These are the 3 states discussed there. And finally we get into Turiya, the 4th, which holds the secret of the entire creation. Sthitadhi kim prabhasheda. After experiencing this sthita prajnata, our intelligence becomes stable. Krishna undertook to drive the chariot of Arjuna. He drove him to the battlefield. And then Arjuna crumbled. Both of them were looking at the same scene. And the mission in front of both was the same. Arjuna crumbled. Krishna remained stable. Are you following me? Huh? Both of them had the same consequences. The situation in front was the same. And the 18-day war was also the same for both. But Arjuna was not able to assimilate the consequences. Krishna had no problem in seeing things with clarity. The objective situation remains the same before both. One got shaken, the other stood stable. That stability of Krishna came because he had Sthitaprajna experience earlier. So that Sthitadhi, always we will not be in that state of inner stillness and composure. We will have to wake up and be active in this world. So during the course of activity and interaction, how much challenging it is, you must be able to remain stable. Stability is the watchword. Moderation is our ideal. Confidence is our possession. Knowledge is the treasure. Let us understand it very clearly. So, Sthitadhi kim prabhasheda, a person who has experienced this Sthitaprajnata, when he lives and moves about in this world, certainly he will make a reference to it. Whatever you know, you generally speak about it in your interaction. Like that, the spiritual treasure which he has been able to discover, possess and master, certainly an expression of it, a reference to it, a description of it will be there. While all the others will be talking only about the world, the Sthitaprajna or the Sthitadhi will also refer to the source of the world. Source of the world. How many of you speak about your mind and the mind treasure that you have? Nobody. But suppose you have had a knowledge of the treasure of the mind, then you will start speaking about it naturally. You will write a book even. Sthitadhi kim prabhasheda, kim asida. How will he rest? What does it mean? All people are active and interactive, and when they retire from the activity for a short-term period like the day, they will start thinking about whatever is done and whatever is to be done. Their restfulness will not be of a non-secular nature. That will also be agitational perhaps. In this case, kim asida, he will be able to rest his mind and intelligence also. As you sit and relax bodily in a chair, you will also be able to sit and relax mentally. Our Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana speaks about a Chudala and Shikhidwaja couple in the Nirvana Prakarana. I have started writing the story and making evaluation in Vicharasedu. You should unmissingly read it. The couple, Chudala and Shikhidwaja, they were a very good couple. Shikhidwaja grew up in age. The ministers understood that he had reached the marriageable age. So they started looking for a princess. What? The ministers started looking for a match for their king. Just see. There is a lot of message in this. The king's family and the administrative family, both of them were not separate. The ministers felt that our prince has grown up in age. He obviously exhibits symptoms of youthfulness. The time has come for marriage. Let us look for a match. They spotted Chudala, a Saurashtra princess. Went into all details and found that she would be a matching companion for Shikhidwaja. Proposed and the marriage was over. They lived for a few years comfortably, given to romance, and whatever romance would give, everything was over. And in course of time, Chudala started introspecting over the world. What is this youthfulness? What is this romance? What is this external world? Every day is passing and we are becoming older. Nothing in this world is static. Everything is perishable, evanescent. This cannot be the goal of human life. I have got intelligence to understand. I have got a mind to feel. I have a heart which wants to rejoice in its own purity and the rewards of purity. So what is the ultimate goal? In spite of so well married and having the prestigious, powerful and comfortable position, all the luxuries, royal luxuries they had, Chudala started introspecting. And by a process of infusional, truthful introspection, she got illumined. I don't know whether you are following me. She got illumined. Illumined about what? illumined about the subject as different from and opposed to the object. So many of you I am seeing. I am the one subject for my sight of all of you. You are many, but I am one. And being one, I embody and enfold all of you in my being, in my inner perception. So my subject has got great magnitude than the object world. The object horizon is much smaller than the subject horizon. Normally the mind is employed only to see and interact with the objects. By introspection, the intelligence and the mind together are employed to interact with this subject. I don't know whether my language is understood. हाँ? थोड़ा सोच लीजिए ना, बाहर जो कुछ है तो है, दिखाने वाला तो भीतर है. इतना ज्यादा हम देख रहे हैं. Infinitude we are seeing. So what is the source which makes you see and embody this infinitude? That should be of a greater dimension. Chudala got illumined about the subject in her, about the I, the self in her. And that illumination made her so beautiful, so glorious, so splendorous, so satisfied. Her attainment started oozing from her body. And Shikidvaja, looking at her, makes a remark, "How beautiful are you? Age is advancing. You are not becoming less beautiful. I find a luster in your face. Where from did you get this, my dear wife?" He was inquiring. Then she gives a beautiful narration. I think it is in the latest Vicharasetu you should read. She says, "This is my rest. This is my rest. This is my rest." The body alone is sitting on the chair. Where is your mind seated? Have you any answer? When you are sleeping, you tell me, the thoughtful mind, the emotional mind, the rational intelligence, the inquiring, the investigating intelligence, where are they resting? You must give me an answer. All of you speak about the restless mind, the restless mind. When you close your eyes and sit in meditation, people will say, "My mind is running." Suppose it really ran, then you will have to be taken to the cremation ground. The mind is not running at all. It can never leave the body even for a second. If the mind has left the body, you become prana vihina, lifeless. So this mind is resting in sleep. The intelligence also stops all its activity and it is resting. Where are they resting? What is that abode? What is that anchor? I have got a peep into it. I have understood. I have realized. This experience, this realization makes me comfortable, makes me relaxed, makes me luminous, makes me splendorous. I don't want anything from the world, any object at all, to add to my delight. My mind is full and complete. My intelligence is full and complete. My heart is full and complete. This is what she started saying. Poor Shikidvaja could not understand her. And there is a lot of instance that took place. You should read this. Kim asida? How will they rest? Chudala answers, what is their rest? I don't have the verses with me now. I don't know whether you will want me to explain them. And we have only 2 more days. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhasheda kim asida vrajeda kim. How does he interact in this world? Maybe in the professional front, in the domestic front, in the societal front. These are the only 3 fronts in which we are active. Without getting eclipsed by any of the actions or interactions. See, while interacting, the things you are interacting with, maybe persons, places and events, none of them should eclipse you. None of them should cloud you. None of them should overpower you. If at all, your mind should be able to overwhelm every impact. How is it? What is that art and process? Spirituality is an absorptional science, if you consider it to be meditational absorption. But the day is interactive day, interactional day. So when the spiritual man, the Sthita Prajna or the Sthitadi, when he interacts with the world, corrupt as it is now, you are finding it, will you also become corrupt? Will your spirituality get dimmed or eclipsed? This is something that he is inquiring. What is that art and process by virtue of which a spiritually wise man is able to interact even with the seemingly corrupt world without getting corrupted? If at all, imparting to the world at least a substantial measure of purity, elegance and illumination from himself to the society. These are the enquiries made by Arjuna. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhasheda kim asida vrajeda kim. Mind you, please listen to me as Arjunas did. What? You should listen to me as Arjuna did. I am already a Krishna talking to you. Otherwise this discussion has no meaning at all. Krishna has no difficulty in explaining. I told you that the entire secret in meeting the challenges of modern life is in equipping, enriching and empowering your inner personality. And this empowerment of the inner personality takes place not by interactional indulgence, but inner absorption. One is interactional, outwardness. The other is inwardness. Sleep generally comes to us biologically, but you must be able to sleep spiritually. In the wakeful state, you should sit, remaining wakeful, and you must be able to bring about and induce. This wakefulness should be there, and willfully, out of your own choice, training and practice, you must be able to induce this sleepiness in you. I would not be wrong if I say that it is wakeful sleep or sleepy wakefulness. Wakeful sleep. You must be able to sleep, remaining wakeful. Not this way. That is sleep. The drooping should not be there. That is what Krishna says. That is the entire secret of excellence. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partham anogatan atmanyeva atmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyade. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partham anogatan. Hey Partha, son of Pritha, Arjuna, you must be able to employ your intelligence, reason, understanding, rationality, etc. with a view to abandon all kinds of desires from your mind. Normally, what are we doing? We are trying to promote, extend and intensify our desires and desirefulness. So you should beat a retreat, at least for a short while. I have taken a little gap, or maybe in the morning or in the evening. I am going to stop all my activities and I will sit. Now, as I have been desiring and following the desirefulness, here I will try to terminate my desirefulness and desires and get into a state of absorption. So, prajahadi. It is not the sleep which is biologically induced. When you sleep, you have no desires at all. It is not that kind of desirelessness in sleep. This is a willful one, a choice one, a developed one, a sought and cultivated one. So you must be able to abandon willfully all desires. Every desire is constricting. It makes my mind weaker and weaker, narrower and narrower, agitated and agitated. So I am going to abandon my desires. I will simply abandon my desires. When you are able to abandon all desires means material, spiritual, philosophical, yogic, all desires should be suspended. Atmanyeva atmana thushtaha. Then what follows? You must be able to rejoice, revel and delight in your own self. For your delight, there should not be a thought. There should not be an object. There should not be a physical association or interaction. So physically you should keep quiet. Sensorily there should be no activity. Close your eyes and rest your mind, rest your intelligence. Let the mind and the intelligence be firmly seated on the self itself. Self itself. You know, when thoughts proceed, you haven't thought about it. Thought is an outcome. What did I say? Thought is an outcome. For an outcome there must be a process. What is that process? Thinking is the process. Any kind of a verb denotes an action. An action implies an actor. Actor is the source from which an action proceeds. So there is a source for the action, the actor. So thought is an outcome of the thinking process, and the thinking itself is a deliberation which proceeds and emerges from the thinker. So whenever you think of the thought, instantly the tripudi, the threefold constituents come to the mind. The thinker, the thinking and the thought. While the thoughts are many and therefore the processes also are certainly many, how many thinkers are there in you? Only one. So one thinker gives rise to multiple thought processes to generate manifold thoughts. The thinker remains the same. What is the thinker's potential? Tell me. Crores and crores of thoughts are getting evolved from your mind. All of them are engendered by the same thinker. So what should be the capacity of the thinker? And where is he producing these thoughts from? Where are they remaining or reigning? How do they get dissolved? And there are occasions when you don't think, so there is no thinker in you. So there is a pre-thinker entity. What did I say? Don't tell me, Swamiji, it is abstract. No, it is not abstract. I am telling you just like 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 1, 4, 4 multiplied by 2, 8. Is it abstract? Then why should this be abstract? Thought is an outcome generated by a process thinking. The thinking is an action or a deliberation proceeding from a subject entity called the thinker, and the thinker itself is an evolution from a pre-thinking presence or entity. Now use your thought process to trace backward and land on the pre-thinker entity. ये होगा या नहीं? हाँ? बोलिए ना. First of all, you understand. This is an exposure. And you have to follow the exposure. If I can generate thoughts and apply them and follow them, I can also follow the thought process and get into the thinker and the pre-thinker entity. Atmane atmanyeva atmana thushtaha. When you transcend even the thinker entity, you have transcended the entire world, my dear souls. You have transcended the entire world. The entire world. The entire world comes to you through the 5 senses. So far as you are concerned, the world is 5-fold. It is not manifold. Am I clear or not? They are things for the eyes to see, ears to hear, nose to smell, tongue to taste, and skin to touch. So they are Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandhas. Where is the manifold gone now? The entire manifold is reduced to 5-fold. And when they go into the mind, they are reduced into 2. pleasant and unpleasant, sukha and dukkha. And when you go to sleep, even the two are wiped off. You tell me, who produces the five? The world or your own mind? Boliye na jor se. Is the world producing the five sensations, or your five senses produce the five sensations? And these sensations, when they trickle down to the mind, who produces the pleasantness and unpleasantness? The mind. And when you go to sleep, tell me, who wipes them off? Aapki capacity kitni hai, boliye ab. Are you a fool, or are you the wisest person in the world? Are you the weakest person, or are you the strongest individual in this world? Boliye na strongest. Hey, kya kahani hai? Chet, durbalata ki kahani gaan, yahi main sun raha hu. Durbal, durbal, durbal. Sing the song of strength, the song of invincibility, unassailability, unconquerability. When the whole world is gone, Janaka says, I still survive. I still survive when the whole world is gone. You sleep, the entire world is gone, and you wake up. So have you not survived the dissolution of the world? क्या नहीं समझते हैं क्या मेरी भाषा? थोड़ा हंसिए ना. See, when I sleep, I completely dissolve the whole world which I was involved in when I was wakeful. And then when I slept, I completely wiped off everything. And still I survive in the morning, wake up. So I survive even when the entire world is gone. What is your status then? Have a new address for you, a new description for you. Your name is given by the parents. Identify your own name, your own measure, your own identity, and then speak from there. Atmanyeva atmana tushtaha sthita prajnas tadochyade. When you are able to abandon willfully with your own choice and discrimination all kinds of spiritual, material and other desires, and after desiring, you have inner sovereign contentment. The contentment that comes originally from your own source, inner source, not from a second object. In that state, one is called a sthita prajna. That man is a person who is immersed in his own self and its glory. You never feel like asking for anything, wanting anything. Everything is gone. I don't want even a speck of matter from this world. My mind is full with myself. Nothing can be added on to my mind, and nothing can be subtracted from the mind. I remain full. Purne manasi sampurnam jagat sarvam sudhadravaihi upanad gudhapadasya nanu charma astradaiva bhuu. Vasishtha tells Sri Rama, Purne manasi sampurnam jagat sarvam sudhadravaihi. When your mind becomes full and complete, when your mind becomes opulent, affluent, it becomes inwardly all by itself abundant, full, the entire world becomes full. Full with nectar. Let the mind be nectarine, then the whole world becomes nectarine. It is just like putting on a pair of chappals to see that the entire world, wherever you walk, it is covered by the same substance. Wear a pair of chappals, wherever you walk, you don't have to look for carpets and sheets and other things to be spread anywhere. Wear 2 slippers and go wherever you want. In the same manner, he says, the entire earth is covered by leather when you put on leather chappals. In the same manner, when the mind is full, the whole world is full with nectar. If the mind is jagged and broken, the entire world is miserable, jagged and broken. When the mind is full and complete, the entire world is complete. Tell me, where is the key now? The world remaining as it is a conglomeration of conflicts and contradictions. All these conflicts and contradictions will have no meaning at all when you become inwardly full and complete. And this approach is purely personal, direct, inner and inward. Nobody can prevent you or deny you the opportunity for it. It becomes complete. You don't rest upon a second factor. The entire pursuit depends upon the mind, guided by the intelligence, helped by this kind of an exposition, satsang and exposure. We shall stop for the day. Krishna has clearly indicated what is the source of all conflicts. What is the source from which you will have to derive inspiration to meet all challenges of life? The source is within. The source is within. A challenge is felt. It is a response of the mind. And the mind will have to get the inspiration and the vigor to meet it. You can spin and weave any extent of creativity to meet any challenge at all in this world. Shandasvabhava majaratmakameka satyam samvidpadam nirupamam kalana vihinam Andarbahischa bahudha vyavaharyamanam taddaivamevam mama sarvam aham tadeva prabuddham vimuktam vikaradihinam prasannam sada nitya bodhaswarupam param nischalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranahumi. Hari Om, Hari. The Omkara chanting by all of you, very, very beautiful, very nice, very nice. All of you should join and do it. Start reveling in it. Hari Om Tats. Jaya Guru.